talking about your pop. Now, what made you be an entrepreneur? How did that start?
Well, it was, for me, it was part of my healing.
Okay.
I was going to church. We're years in church. I started by writing quotes, and that was also part of my healing. And then my son told me one day, "Mom, like, why do you keep going to your job?" And they, because I work for the state of New Jersey. For motor vehicle, and that's stressful.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to do something for yourself. You just want to keep working for people. And I said, I'm not good at anything. And he was like, what do you mean you're not good at anything? He said, even a management company. And I said, nah, that's not something I want to do. And then we would visit that conversation every couple of weeks. But the last time that he told me that, I said, you know what? There is one thing that I would love, but I know it's impossible. He said, what? I said, I love makeup. Oh my God, I love makeup. And I love the matte lipsticks. I would love to have my own, but I know that's not possible. And he said, why not?
Why not? Yes, why
not? He
not?
said, why not? I said, it's me. Like, I'm not a superstar to come out with my own line. He said, Mom, you could do whatever you want if you want to do it.
Well, that's inspiring that your son pushed you out of your comfort zone to start your own business and start your own lip pop. That's amazing.
And he's funny because I said, why don't you tell me how to do it? Because he has his own franchise and he's doing very well. He said, I'm not going to tell you how to do it. If you want something, you got to do it yourself, because people always come to me and tell me how to do things, and they don't do nothing. They just want me to say, oh, I'll do this for you. You do it. And I've always been, how you say it? I've always been one of them strong people.
Self-sufficient, independent lady.
Yeah, so it was like if he just gave me that push I needed.
Okay. So with that push, we're going to take a break for our sponsors. Okay. And we'll be right back.
Okay.
Today's episode was sponsored by EVB Lip Pop. Those lips be popping. Let's talk about it. Let's talk. It's Chris Ron. Let's talk. Now, you said that your son was an inspiration, and I get that because my son inspires me. So what was the work that you did in order to start your own business?
I really, really got focused. I would pray. My favorite Bible verse is Philippians 4:13. You could do all things through Christ who gives you strength. So I was like, all right, I could do this. So
yes,
I started thinking of the name. Like, what would my lipstick be called? And I'm like, I just started thinking back from when we were working together. One of our coworkers, every time I walked in the job, she would be like, EVB in the house, because my name's Yvette. So she gave me Evie as a nickname. Yes. And everybody calls me Betsy, so Betsy, she would call me EVB. So I said, I remembered Little Mama from when I lived in New York, that she had your lip glosses popping. So I said, I'm going to call it EVB Lip Pop.
And I like that name. I love it.
Yeah, so I text my son, I think I got the name. He said, what, Mom? I said, EVB Lip Pop. He was like, I love it. I love it. So he gave me okay, that's catchy. Mm-hmm. So from there, I started trying to find a logo. So he was like, you got to do the lab work. He wouldn't even.
He wouldn't help you.
He was like, nope,
well,
do the lab
it makes
work.
It your own. When you do the work, you appreciate it a whole lot more.
Right. So I went and found somebody to help me make a logo, and it was like a bootleg logo. Okay. I thought it was cute, though, because I was excited. And my son was like, no, Mom, for real. So he said, I'm going
Is he your manager?
Yeah,
I know.
like
He needs to be your manager for
Yeah.
sure.
So he said, I'm going to give you the name and number to somebody who I work with. And I said, okay. So I started dealing with this guy, and I did tell him I want the Y and the B to connect.
Okay.
And so he kept sending me different YBs, and I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. And I said, wait, you know what? I'm going to text you something, and I want it kind of like this. So I said, Mom, give me a pen. And she gave me a pen, and I took a napkin, and I wrote the YB, and I was like,
And voila.
and there it goes.
There we go.
I texted to him, and he
I
made
love
it for me. So that's how that came about. So now I had the name.
Yes.
He made my logo. The next thing I was working on is the manufacturers. I started reaching out to different manufacturers and buying samples.
Okay.
And I
didn't know that. I didn't know that you can contact a manufacturer and ask for samples.
Yes. And they were sending me samples, and I was like, no. Whatever I sell, I want to wear it, because I wouldn't sell anything to you.
Right.
That's not, if it's not good enough for me, it's not good enough for you.
Okay.
So it took me a while. Yeah, it took me a while. So when I got the delivery from this company, I remember screaming, and I was crying, and I called my son. I said, guess what? He said, what? I said, I found it. He said, no, you didn't. And I said, I did. And he said, you're just excited. I said, no, this is it. This is it.
God worked it out.
Yes. And God, he did it for me. I'm so grateful. That was it. It's a wrap. I launched it May 4th of 2021.
Wow.
My youngest granddaughter was born that day.
Wow.
Yes.
What a blessing.
Yes.
What a blessing. So, with that being said, all that you've been through and all that you've told me, let's go back to that young girl before you have kids, sitting there in Camden.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you tell that young girl, that young Yvette?
You can never imagine what God could do for you if you just listen to Him.
Wow.
Because as a child, I would have never, I didn't even have hardly clothes or anything. But there's nothing impossible for God. You got to believe what He tells you, and you got to believe you're His child. Amen. And He doesn't make mistakes.
No, He don't.
He doesn't make mistakes. And when you go through something, you got to go through it, and you got to take the good from the bad. So if you went through something and didn't learn anything, then it was a waste of time. Everybody's going to go through trials and tribulations. The most important thing is to learn, wake up grateful every day, regardless of how bad it looks, and keep it moving, keep it pushing.
Amen. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you again, Yvette, for joining me and telling your story. So much inspired from your testimony, and hopefully it inspires you. Thank you to our sponsor, EVB Lip Pop. My lips is popping. You can catch her on all social media, please. And stay connected with me. If you want to talk to me, I'm on social media as well. So share, like, and subscribe. Until next time, let's talk.